Hi, my name is Kristoffer Skåra. I'm the head chef here at MS Kong Harald with Hurtigruten. These are some of the most iconic dishes and foods you will find in Norway.
Norway is a breathtaking country where emerald pastures, snow-capped mountains and a rugged coastline meet in perfect harmony. And with nature this rich, you know the food is going to be incredible. It's here that an amazing landscape creates amazing produce.
When I started working for Hurtigruten, one of the most exciting things for me was to use all of the great local produce.
So we bring you 7 iconic Norwegian foods you simply have to try.
This is Brunost, Norwegian brown cheese. It's actually not a technical cheese. It's made from whey that is boiled down and reduced, and finally it caramelizes. The flavor is caramelly, fudgy, and even a bit nutty. And it can be made from cow's milk, or as they used to make it, from goat's milk. The Norwegian brown cheese we use in cooking, for example, for game and sauces and stews. We can also use it for baking and pastry and even for ice creams. And it's a very popular choice for spreads for Norwegian bread. Actually, this cheese doesn't contain any casein, and that means that people who are allergic to milk protein can enjoy this cheese. In total, every year, Norwegians consume about 30,000 tons of Brunost. For me, this makes Brunost one of the most iconic and special things to get in Norway. So if you ever come here, make sure that you give it a shot. Cloudberries are often referred to as the gold of the Arctic. It's a very special berry. It cannot be cultivated, can only be picked in the wild, and during the long summer months they grow in the warm midnight sun of northern Norway and Scandinavia. So the flavor of the multe, the cloudberry, is tart and floral, and commonly in Norway we use to make Multekrem, which is whipped cream folded in with cloudberries to make a very traditional Norwegian dessert. Also, it's very good to use for game dishes, like for example reindeer, to add some special tartness to sauce or as a garnish. Additionally, it's very popular to use for marmalade, to use with cheeses, as a spread, or as a dessert garnish. One of the cloudberry products we use on board is a cloudberry syrup that we get from Multekrem, so that we can use it for our cheese plates and desserts. So cloudberries are highly priced, but also regulated about who can pick them. So be sure to try them when you come aboard Hurtigruten. Reindeer is a lean, mineral-rich and sustainably sourced meat. Reindeer is very well paired with common herbs like rosemary and thyme, but also tart berries, for example cloudberry and lingonberries. The reindeer that we have on board is from Finnmark. All reindeer that is herded in Norway is herded by the Sami people. And the reindeer has deep roots in Sami culture. We use reindeer for steaks, roasts, in stews and even for tartar. Reindeer has a smaller carbon footprint than most other red meat and is one of the few free-range meat sources we have left in Europe. You really need to try the reindeer if you have the chance. So seaweed is the vegetable of the ocean. It's rich in iodine, in calcium, and really rich in umami flavor. The most common seaweed types we use on board is truffle seaweed, butare, it can be smoked or non-smoked, and sugar kelp. The seaweed is sustainably harvested along the coast. We will use it in soups and stocks. We will dry it to use as toppings for our fish and seafood dishes, and even powder it to use in our butters and mayonnaises. If you're looking for a true taste of the ocean, you got to try the Norwegian seaweed. This is the Kanelsnurr, that's the Norwegian cinnamon roll. For a typical Norwegian, it might not be that exciting, but the filling of sugar, butter and cinnamon inside a sweet pastry is just unmissable. In our 3 signature ships, Trollfjord, Finnmarken and Midnattssol, we have our own pastry chefs making daily fresh pastries. Just imagine having a warm, nice cinnamon roll fresh out of the oven, sitting by the window, watching the fjords go by, enjoying your cup of coffee. All the Scandinavian countries have their own version of the cinnamon roll. In Norway, we have a more fluffy, maybe even sweeter version. You should really try it out. In the early months of the year, the cod that we call the Skrei comes from the Barents Sea to spawn in the Norwegian coast. This is one of our finest products. The Skrei is firm, fleshy and really high quality. When we cannot source Skrei, we will use different variations of dried cod. Clipfisk is a salted and dried cod, and the Stockfish is an air-dried cod. Buknafisk is an aged, semi-dried cod. So we dry it outside, hanging in free air, and the salt and the lack of humidity will help to dry it. We often serve cod with mashed potatoes, melted butter and crispy bacon. It's a real staple of Norwegian culture. Now we're going to talk a little bit about Lefse. Lefse comes in an enormous amount of varieties, from thin potato lefse in the north to thicker, sweeter, milk-based lefse in the south. We serve lefse with sugar and butter. We can serve it with smoked salmon or other kinds of spreadings, with marmalade, with berries. Similar recipes can vary from fjord to fjord, and even different families can have different versions of the recipe. One of the most common ways to eat lefse is with butter and Brunost, brown cheese. Make sure when you come to Norway, whichever variety you will find, try a lefse. When I started working for Hurtigruten, one of the most exciting things for me was to use all of the great local produce. These are some of the staples that we serve here in Norway's coastal kitchen. I really recommend you to try them all.
Here at Hurtigruten, with our Norway's coastal kitchen concept, we are redefining travel and taste, serving fresh, locally sourced ingredients straight from the fjords, fields and fishing villages you pass by. So, if you want to try these iconic Norwegian foods yourself, discover our voyages at the link in the description. And watch this next video for more inspiration from the Norwegian coast.